Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Dishonored 2 very hard difficulty ghost walkthrough. This is the final mission of the game, Death to the Empress, and this is a wonderful circle? I don't know why I said it like that, like Hercule, weird. But it's a great circle for the game and for the sequel itself because we are back in Dunwall, and this is an area that you've played in before. And I was really curious to see what this game would do with bringing back existing locations, and I'm really happy that they did it because there's a grand sense of deja vu, but at the same time, it's different enough to keep it interesting. And narratively speaking, it sets a completely different type of dialogue as well. I recommend at the beginning here, you come the path that I went and you stay high because there's a lot of dogs in this zone, and the dogs are kind of a nightmare. Speaking of a nightmare, can you remember how the first game had that really cool song? Well, this game, the song is horrible. It's really awful. It sounds like this woman can't sing. It's really bad, so just try to ignore the yodeling siren. She could certainly lead a cat's choir, and I was not impressed. It actually made me laugh, it's so bad. But maybe they were going for a style and I just didn't see it. Whatever it was, not digging it. As I was saying, however, narratively this really shows you just what she's done to your city and your capital. She's taken everything from us and turned it to shit, basically. So there's a wonderful sense of exactly the repercussions of what this woman has done, and it gives you a great reason to want to put her down. And I like that idea because we ruled over this area. This was our where we reigned. And it's a special location for players because it's the only part of the game that you can recall from the first game. And then when you go into the tower, this is compounded once again because you went in that tower to assassinate that dude. So you know that location, and there's a subtle twist on it now, so there's this great sense of empowerment, but also fresh mystery. So I think it's really well done, it's tastefully done, and they could have been way more, remember this, and rubbed it in your face with all the different levels, and been way too referential to the last game, but I think they did it in such a subtle way that it really works. And speaking of works, this is one of the only levels where you can stand on the tracks without dying, so use it. So there goes the first sequence. There is 3 sequences to this mission. The second one here seems very intimidating, but it's actually pretty simple. There might be more than 3 sequences. This is a 20-minute mission, so it's kind of long. We're going to begin, as we always do, by climbing on the lampposts to get as high as we possibly can. This might involve a jump and a blink, so save before you do these maneuvers because the game, once again, blink can be very hit and miss. It can say you're going to stand on things and then you fall off. It can say you're going to stand on things and then you never even get close to standing on it. There can be a little bit of experimentation with it, but all in all, it works more times than it fails. It's just when it does fail, like this, that's one of those moments where I could have easily not got that right, and I would have fallen and perhaps taken a lot of damage. So you need to safety save, guys, because the game is a little bit hit and miss with some of the mechanics, and this next path is a really, really good one. In this courtyard there is a bunch of witches. They're all patrolling, they're doing what they do, and what we're going to do is we're going to climb onto that building that you can see just over there with the red chimney, or the rusted chimney, and then we're going to jump from that cornerstone and blink into a tree, completely circumnavigating that left-hand side of the map. And my first time through this level, I didn't land in the tree. I got bounced from the tree into the garden, and it looked kind of awesome. On the recording run, I just sat in the tree like some kind of twat. And it still worked, but it was confusing. So save on top of here, aim towards to the right of the conifer, and sprint, blink, and boom. You'll either land in the tree like me, or you'll land past the spikes in the garden. And once you're here, if you're in the tree, blink again, and then you're in this little sluice way next to the moat, and then from here we can climb up onto the balcony without anybody seeing us, and then get into the building. So safety save if need be, or just push on. Editing out the saves in this game has been trickier than I thought it would be, because there isn't a lot of ambient music, so when you pause the game, it doesn't show on the timeline as drastically as it would if there was music happening before it. Which makes it hard to spot, and there will be instances where I miss some, unfortunately, so I apologise in advance for that, but I think it will only be really in the massive full game walkthrough with no commentary, because I didn't have chance to fully scrim that video as I normally would with the commentary. so there might be a few in there. So if you're ever confused about where I'm saving and you would perhaps like to see my saves, that's the best thing to watch, because it's going to show you a couple of examples where I missed them during editing. Because I'm only human, guys. But this is the room, remember it? The place with the chandeliers, the floor above, where you could go through the fireplace. This is that level. And admittedly, I've not played Dishonored 1 in a long time, but I remember this. And it's a cool feeling of being like, wow, I know this. I know where we are. And it does give you a boost of confidence. You don't have to go this way, by the way. I'm just double checking this corridor. If you blink past the bookshelves behind that statue of the witch, you can move on to the next room. I think there's an achievement for talking to those statues as well, but I haven't got that yet. But in this room, when you open this door, be careful, because there's another one of those statues, and there are times when the statues react to you, there are times when they don't. I don't know what that's about, because I've not messed enough. But open this one, blink on top of the door. There is a single Clockwork soldier to the bottom of me right here, but I'm not going to let you see it. You'll hear him talking, though. Then I'm going to blink on top of this trophy, and then from here, I'm going to make my way forward through this room. And then all you have to do once you're on the balcony is flip down onto the floor just past there, and there's a doorway. I recommend dropping a save before you open this door, because you're going to come face to face with a Clockwork soldier, and you want to get on the balcony, and if you're not quick enough, he will see you. But this, I got really lucky there. He doesn't see me. I know I've got a safety save, so I don't have to panic, but you see what I mean? Sometimes you need to get a little lucky, and sometimes you do get lucky, which is nice. So drop off the ventilation duct, and then sprint into the basement. When you turn the power on, you're going to change the spawns, because there's going to be a witch that comes down here to check who's been messing with the power. And it's kind of confusing, this section, I think, with the audio. Because when you listen to it, it sounds like two women are coming down into the basement, but it's only one. And I don't know if it's because two different voice actors say the line, or if it's just because the way the audio is projected on the surround sound, but it sounds like there's more than one woman to me. And I was very surprised to see that it's only one. And the game is pretty short too once you condense the missions into successful runs, so I haven't really had a chance to talk much about the audio, because the audio in this game can tell you a lot, especially if you have surround sound. It can tell you where people are moving, where they're walking, and it can give you subtle clues before you see them. And first-person stealth will always be more difficult than third-person stealth, because you can't exploit the camera. So you do a lot of brave moments where you have to fearlessly step out without knowing what's there. And if you play like I do, where you can't see through the walls with dark vision and you don't have all the stopping the time fancy moves, you have to do a lot of good old-fashioned balls to the wall braving it. And in third person that wouldn't be needed because we could exploit the camera, as I said, but it doesn't work that way here. So sound is important, but it's also important to know that the sound is not honest. There are times when people sound really loud, but they're not as close as they seem. And there are times when they're above you, and they sound like they're on the same floor as you. So the audio can be good, but it can also be deceptive. And I find that a little disappointing in a lot of ways, because I don't understand why a game like Call of Duty 4 can have sound that tells me exactly what surface an enemy's stepping on, and exactly where they are regardless of floor they're on, at any given time, with a headset that's not even that expensive. Yet 10 years later, the audio in games is still doing that thing where they want it to sound way more cinematic than it is, so they'll just add sounds that are not being generated by anything except for ambient noises, and it sounds like people are there when they're not, because they're trying to create tension and atmosphere, and I've never liked that. I want 100% honest audio, because audio is a tool to help you win. And there is a quick double blink because there's multiple people in that room, and getting across that room that quickly is a work of art, because it all depends where the woman is. If you see the woman when you open the door, you cannot do what I just did. If she's somewhere else in that room, go for it, but make sure you use a safety save. Also, never stand in front of this elevator, because when it opens up there's a demon dog. So sit up here on the hatch, and then proceed to either climb up the elevator shaft or use the elevator once he's pissed off. Another thing too, do you see the cable that holds the elevator up? It looks like the thing in the tutorial where you shot it with your crossbow and it broke. I wonder if you can hold the cable and drop the chassis. So drop the lift and go up with the cable like they do in like Batman movies and stuff. That'd be interesting to see if you can do that, like as a counterweight. But once again, didn't experiment with that stuff because I didn't need to. I'm just going to be moving forward and getting the business done. This is the wrong floor, by the way. I'm one floor down, as you can see by the really useful piece of interface, the diamond with the pointy part of it. But blink back upwards, and now we're moving into the final section of the level once my blink comes back. But did you notice? I double blinked, and now I've limited how many blinks I can do. Fortunately, the rest of the game does not require any more double blinks, but double blinks are useful. They get you out of shit shows pretty quickly, and because of that, they're valuable. And I tried something here. There are women on the sides of you, on like the ramparts of the castle walls, and I decided to sprint here to the left-hand side of this particular building to see if they could hear me, because I can hear them talking, but I didn't know what they were doing. So I sprint, making all the noise in the world. Somebody kind of hears me then, but I can just jump on here, blink in there, and never have to deal with them. So the final boss is just to the right of us. We're going to be doing the passive strategy, the pacifist way of getting rid of her. And it's not as obvious as you would think. This took me a while to figure this out. So this is the very beginning of the game, remember this? Only difference now, there are hellhounds in certain areas, so make sure you're crouch walking or you will get their attention, and they're assholes. You want to go all the way back to the safe room, and then open Josephine's secret passage, or whatever it's called. We also get to see, I forget the name of this guy. Is it Ramsey? So this dude here is the most pointless character in the game. You knock him out at the beginning, you get your ring from him, and that's it. He was one of the people who helped in the coup d'etat, and he's voiced by Sam Rockwell, but he does nothing in the game, other than at the inception, which I find really strange. Sam Rockwell does a great job. He's a solid actor. I like him a lot, but he does nothing in this game. But here we are anyhow. Jesamine's in a chamber. Open up the fireplace and be careful because there's a witch immediately to your left. I blink forward and then I blink onto the chandelier by hugging the right wall. If done correctly, the witch should not see you, but she's very attentive, so be careful. Right now, we're going to wait for the Clockwork soldier that's about to appear, and then we're going to blink towards that door once he goes the other way. Things to bear in mind, Clockwork soldiers can see both in front and behind. The only time they have a blind spot is when they turn to the side, and this guy has a very particular pattern where he seemingly never does that. So drop down here, wait for him to walk away, and then push to that door with a blink. Once you blink, hit the door, close the door, and get off a straight line of it so he can't see you. And once you're in the chapel, drop a safety save, and then come down here and prepare to do the alchemy and witchcraft needed to make this relic that's going to help us stop the boss. So there is a piece of intel here that's going to tell you the ingredients that you need, and I believe it's the piece of paper. The ingredients are, you need the stuff that goes into the paint, you need some of the flowers, and you need that skull, I think, and I think that's it. So that's what you need there. You need the pigment, you need the skull, and then you need something that's on the floor behind me. You need that, whatever that was, and I think that's it. So come over here, pop it on the side, and once it's done, it will do itself. So it's not complicated, you shouldn't struggle at all. And then once the corrupted rune is there, pick it up. And then we can go back to where we came from, which is the room where Delilah was. And funny story here, guys, even though it's not that funny, it's kind of stupid. I completely forgot that I had to put the heart on and use the corrupted heart to get her from being invincible. So when I got behind her, I tried to choke her, and she breaks out of the choke and she starts fighting you. And I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong because I was having one of those moments. And the game wasn't saying use the heart. Normally in a game when you mess up like that, it will tell you to use what you should have used. And the game's just like, nope, you're on very hard, you know what you're doing. And I didn't. So I choked her about 4 times, thought I'd ruined the run, and then realised, oh damn, I'm not using the thing. So if you're anything like me and you happen to somehow forget, that's what you've got to do here. And you might wonder, how the hell can you forget? We spent the entire game getting that heart powered up so that it can take away from her. I skipped all the cutscenes, boys. All I did was play Dishonored. I just played stealth, I choked people out, and I skipped cutscenes, so I'd completely forgot that the point of that last mission was to power up the heart to neutralise her abilities. And it's just one of those silly moments where I spent about 20 minutes thinking I'd screwed myself, and really, I just forgot how to play the game. So there you go. It happens to the best of us. Drop, blink, get through the fireplace, you should be fine, and then get through the loading gate to the next sequence. Once you're here, guys, you've beat the game. You've got your achievements, pretty much. So, backtrack all the way to the throne room, where Delilah is, put on your heart, and then press the left trigger to drain her soul. But we have to do a little bit of crouch walking here to get past the dog before I can show you this. So hop over the balcony, blink towards the carpet, and then now you should be able to run. But I'm going to keep crouched just because I don't want to alert Delilah, even though she's a deaf woman, this lady. Come over to the throne, stick the corrupted rune on. There'll be a little cutscene of Corvo doing it. I've left it in for posterity. There it goes. I like the noise of it too. Kind of reminds me, you know when the Predator is cleaning the skull in Predator 2 and he slots it onto that spike in the ship? It reminds me a bit of that. And put your heart on. So the heart is up on the left analog. Pop it on. Sneak up to her and then press left trigger.
My daughter.
And end the tyranny, right? So I thought I'd done this wrong the first time through the game. Because I thought, doesn't the painting trap her? Why do I have to go into the painting? Going into the painting sounds like I'm going to be going into a boss fight. But it's just the way the game works. You have to go in the painting for some reason. And if you can find a way where you don't go in the painting, that would be very interesting. But in we go, anyway. And this place was confusing as shit the first time. I'm like, how many decoys is there? Where's the real one? I must have strangled every decoy before I realised, it's one of those, is it? So this is just misdirection. It's classical misdirection. The room in front of you has a target who's not the target, and then there's about 6 decoys spreaded around the statues pretending to be petrified. The real one is above you where you entered, and she's doing like a weird magic trick. And I saw her from a balcony, tried to shoot her with a crossbow, and it didn't do anything. So I thought, I'll blink up there and I'll choke her out. And that's what you were meant to do. So this is the real Delilah. Choke her, and then dump her on the throne in the real world. When I was recording, admittedly I was in a bit of a silly mood because I was happy that we were done, because I'd had a little bit of trouble with this level and it had pissed me off a bit, not knowing what I was doing, because I'm silly. So I was in a bit of a silly mood right here. And I thought, I'm going to dump her in the throne in this room, and I'm going to see if it does anything. Because I was hoping that there would be some kind of, Corvo mention something. But it just doesn't do out. So I chuck her there. She folds up in the chair. I'm like, there you go, you're in your throne, bitch. That's what you get. But there's no little, I should probably put her in the throne in the other room, or anything like that. So pick her up once again, and then exit the painting. And this is going to go thick and fast now, guys. Once you pop her in the throne, there's going to be a bunch of different cutscenes and vignettes that are happening, and I'm going to be skipping them. And you're going to be given choices, and then all you need to do is go to your daughter, who is a statue, and it will trigger the end of the game. Another weird story for you. It had been such a long time since I'd played the beginning of the game, I couldn't remember where Elizabeth was. So when it says, now save your daughter, I'm like, well, that's great, game, but where is she? And it turns out she's in this room. She's literally just there. But I'd forgotten that's where she was frozen, because I played the game in a 10-hour slog, and I was so tired. But that's the end of the walkthrough, guys. And here come the achievements. Royal Protector. Complete the game as Corvo, 50G. There you can see the 000 on everything. Here's the second one. The Greatest Gift. That's to saving a family member. Which is just one you'll get for beating the game. Here is the next one. Clean Hands. That is for 0 kills. Complete the game without killing anyone. And then I believe the next one is Shadow, which is never being spotted. 50G. These are all worth a lot too. Finish the game without being spotted. And then the low chaos one pops on the next screen for some reason. So the moment you click on to the next screen, In Good Conscience pops up, and there's your low chaos achievement. And you'll notice, all I used was Blink, didn't use any of the other supernatural powers, and I did not get Flesh and Steel, so you have to do it without Blink. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the project. I hope you join me on the next one, which is probably going to be Modern Warfare Remastered, and then after that, it will be Final Fantasy 15. So yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who takes the time to comment, everybody who takes the time to like, to say something, to interact, to watch, to support. Every kind gesture, every possible thing you can think of. It means so much to a channel that is as modest as mine. And as long as you're there watching, guys, I'm going to continue to try and make the best videos that I can, and walkthroughs that are worth watching, that help you when you need them. So yeah, thank you for watching. You take care now.